legends. Who among us don't know them? Always delivered with a tinge of brutality, these cautionary tales are a legacy of moral education from times past. Inquisitive children alone in the forest are generally eaten by a witch. The soup casper of Hoffman's Streuselpeter dies from starvation rather than eating his soup. Anyone letting in strangers usually gets devoured. Anyone who plays with matches gets burned. And thumbsuckers get their thumbs cut off. The list of unfortunate demises is almost endless. In the tale of the Pied Piper Pan, parents lose their children through greed, ridicule, scorn, and a failure to appreciate art. In memory of this tragic loss, music still may not be played on that fateful street which led these children out of the town forever. Let us go back to those days in the year of 1284, when our fateful story begins. Let us walk through the soundless street, listening to the Pied Piper motif, and let an image of Hamelin form in our minds. A town in which rats and mice were a great plague, but did not diminish the beauty of its buildings and the surrounding landscape. Suddenly, a man in colorful garb appears. He promises to rid the citizens of the plague of rats and mice, and they soon agree on a fee. Carries a flute with him and plays a fragment of a melody. The rats and mice look up in surprise. The melody sounds once more, and the animals look to see what it is. They gather around the curious stranger and march with him out of the town. The Pied Piper leads them straight into waters of the Weser, where the vermin drown. refuse to pay him. They don't acknowledge the skill and experience of the man and are only prepared to pay for his labor. There is even a pact made with the devil, whereupon the man leaves the town in a furious rage. But not for long. One Sunday, with many people in church, he returns, takes out his flute and begins to play. The town's children are so enchanted by his playing that they follow him. The exodus from the town begins. He leads the children out of the town and disappears with them into a mountain, which then closes behind them. No one sees or hears from them ever again. blind. This then was the fate of the people of Hamelin, who lost their children forever through their resentment, envy, and lack of appreciation for the piper's art and their gloomy, limited worldview. 2 stones mark the spot where the children are said to have disappeared into the mountain. This is the story of the Pied Piper of Hamelin from 1284. As it goes in Richard Wagner's Meinsinger und Nürnberg, scorn not the masters, I bid you, and honor their art.